Good afternoon, everyone. This is Laurent Freyd. I'm chairman of the FIDE Arbiters Commission, and I'm delighted to welcome you for this streaming co-hosted by Tomasz Delega, my counterpart from the ECU. And
Hello.
as you can see with us, we have two distinguished guests who are going to welcome us for this streaming. First of all, President of FIDE, Arkady Dvorkovich, and President of ECU, Zurab Azmayeparashvili. Arkady?
Yes, thank you, Laurent. I'm happy that we were able to work together with ECU and organize this really important webinar for all interested arbiters to use this momentum while everyone is online to improve qualifications, to give a better knowledge about how to referee the tournaments, including online tournaments, actually. We are all online right now, and while there is no possibility in most of the countries to hold over-the-board tournaments, we are eager to support chess activities with all kinds of online events. So this is one of the first webinars to provide an important input for all professionals on how to deal with that, but also many things, many lessons learned from the past regarding also over-the-board events. So I'm sure there will be many questions, many things to discuss over this webinar. And again, we are strengthening our collaboration with the European Chess Union. I would like to thank Zurab Azmayeparashvili, the president of ECU, for the continuous support. And we are, I think, united in our goal to move chess together, both in Europe and globally. So many things to come, and it's a good start. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. And now I give the word to Zurab Azmayeparashvili, President of ECU.
Thank you very much, and I really enjoy. I told you that we had with Anish Giri. I was making not exactly live commentary, but mainly chatting with Anish, and Anish was doing the very good things. Recently, that they are having the simul game, and very exciting, honestly. And they allow me because. For your important webinar. So that in my life of experience all the time, Arbiters seminars were going very well, a lot of discussions and a lot of things. And but sometimes I feel that there is a lot of discussions but not moving forward. What I feel now, honestly, and it's a very good cooperation how Mr. FIDE President Arkady Dvorkovich mentioned that very good cooperation between FIDE and ECU is bringing I believe, the results. And this webinar also will show that this will be not only talk, but will be some important decisions for the future, because we need really change a lot of things, and including especially in the period when we are entering in online chess. Arbiters work becoming more tough and more important. So I would like, first of all, to thank Arkady, who find the time, and not only time, all sources to have FIDE forward. And really, I appreciate Arbiters Commission, FIDE Arbiters Commission, and ECU working together. And I hope in the future you will bring very good results. Good luck, guys.
Thank you, Zurab.
Thank you so much for your encouraging words, and also
yes,
for taking your precious time to join.
Yes, So, dear Chairman of both Arbiters Commission, please do your best to provide for both training and decision making, as Zurab mentioned, so we can move forward. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we will. Thank you so much for joining us today. So, Tomek, now it's time to speak about Arbiters Online, right?
Yes. First of all, I am very impressed that we have a lot of people interested about online, how to be online arbiters, and it is, big challenge for us to have such big project because we are doing this first time. Yes, so I'm a little stressed, but I think when we start, I will be a little more relaxed.
Yeah, I think we are in a similar situation, right? Really, before we start, I think we can thank all the people who responded to our initiative to speak about Arbiters Online, because I can see on the map here that people from really all over the world, so even some of them are in the middle of the night at the moment, and they decided to join us from, if I'm correct, 113 federations. More than 500 emails reached my mailbox, which was really a hectic work to answer all of them. So first of all, thanks to everyone for joining us from all over the world, and I hope this will be an interesting seminar for you. It's something absolutely new. The subject is, of course, since we started with all those sad period related to the COVID, present in everyday life. Online tournaments are present day after day after day, and they will stay after the pandemic, of course. And we have now the opportunity to learn more. So,
wow, sorry for interrupt you, but I think it is very good that we have opportunity to tell the arbiters that during this difficult time, during the COVID time, we are needed like arbiters. Yes, it is very important, because to run a serious chess tournament on the platform or the organizer need to have arbiters, and we are here also to show that we are needed for this job, and we can do our job also with the benefit for our organization.
Exactly. Yeah, that answers one of the questions we sometimes have. But what do the arbiters do during the online tournaments? And this is something we want to speak about today. And okay, online arbiters tournament, etc. This is a lot of questions, a lot of topics, technical regulations, interactions between new actors like the online platforms, etc. And as we say, the motto of FIDE is Gens una sumus. We are one family. And I have the feeling that going online now is somehow like welcoming a baby in the family. And yeah, I think today we will be like parents who bring...
Okay, good, not the baby.
I mean, the parents basically, I mean, they will bring a lot of important things for the baby, right? But two of the very important things for the babies are love and food, of course. So I hope we bring love and food to our audience in the way that in one part we will speak about more conceptual things like love, and in the second part we will be more concrete and really display about tournament experience, real life experience, and share about a real life case study. And this is something I think is very important for the people who are here to benefit from the experience. Of course, we can't in 2-3 months of lockdown be masters of everything. So I think we also need to consider with humility our intervention today. I mean, we want to help, of course. We are working a lot with FIDE, with SEU, in order to set up some standards and help the future being a bit more clear about what's going on online. But we don't have the knowledge of everything as we speak, and probably we will never have the knowledge about everything. But we want to try helping the arbiters to understand the context. If you are connected live, you can, of course, ask questions if you like. and we will try to get them and to find answers during the course of the session.
Yes, it can be difficult because we have a lot of people chatting on our chat on YouTube, and but I will try to catch some question when you will speak, and I think we can do the same when I will speak. So
Yes.
I think at the end of our session we can also discuss some question from people. So now we are receiving some greetings from people. So I think we can start with our job.
Yes. Okay, let's go. So basically, one of the important things may be to state what we are going to cover and what we are not going to cover. So we will describe, to start with, 3 types of events related to online tournaments, which are events which happened in the recent time or even from the past. But we will avoid speaking about arena systems or friendly games, which exist also on the online platforms, but which are probably not that much followed in a supervised way like we intend to speak about it. So let's start with invitational and championships. Those are events like the ones you could observe on the internet, like online Nations Cups, Steinitz Memorial, official events with a quite small public. So there will be rather systems with round robin pairing system or knockout, where the number of players are not that many. And the main fact about those tournaments are that they grew during the pandemic because players are playing from home. They had to stay home and they were playing their games from their desktop or from their room. And in those kind of events, the characteristic is that there is quite a high remote supervision. So to echo what Tomasz said, in that context, you definitely have arbiters. Even sometimes they are supported by other kind of people, which we call proctors. They are people from the platforms, which we can speak about a bit later. And so there are plenty of eyes supervising, a lot of technology or systems like live broadcast, people commenting the game live, also potentially in some cases multiple webcams. So this means pretty some logistic issues or challenges for the players to get equipped and to get installed. Same as we had to do for today, because initially we wanted to meet you in Zoom, but due to the very high level of interest, we decided to stream. But it means that Tomasz and myself, we had to learn streaming in a couple of days, and that's
even hours.
Yes. So that's not the easiest to accumulate with preparing the presentation, but okay. Also players interviews. So it means that inside the playing system, you would have some media partners and things like that who are also part of the system. So about the challenges for the arbiters, it's mainly about professional chess. So it means it's about top level. So you need to be fit, because as we would have expectations when we go to a shop or somewhere and we expect good service, the professional chess players, they expect also good treatment and understanding of situations and so on from the arbiters. And probably one of the biggest challenges as well.
For disturbing you, but there are requests from the participants, from our colleagues, to improve the level of your voice. So if it is possible to speak more to the microphone, will be very good.
Okay, I hope it's better. I'm going to speak closer to the microphone. And also one of the big challenges is if you speak about top level and you have players from China and the US playing at the same time, then you need to be able to manage the time zones as well. So tournaments spread over the world. So then we can speak about a second type of events, and we will have a good example later on by Tomek about mass events and mass programs, which are generally what I call big Swisses, so Swiss system tournaments with a large number of players, again playing from home, of course, due to the COVID period. But then you can't necessarily afford to have 1,000 arbiters in front of 1,000 players, of course. So the supervision would be of lower level. And this is quite obvious, but in the principle, we still try to have proper supervision through webcam, maybe through random checks rather than systematic checks, but supervision in any case. That's one of the keys to ensure that we reduce the risk of cheating. Okay, it's 19 past 6 and the first time I pronounced the word. But yeah, that's one of the words which happens many times during tournaments, unfortunately, and we will have to speak about it, of course. So there can be either standalone events or festival of events. Those tournaments, they can also, in some cases, be not free, meaning that the participants have to pay an entry fee. So this means also a challenge to collect the entry fees and go online for registrations and things like that. Also, one of the important thing, I think Tomek will also echo that, and I will speak about it later as well. It's about anonymous players. In most of the case, it's very, very important that we avoid being in the anonymous world. We want to know who is playing, because then we can identify people who are doing good and also people who are doing bad, of course. And also it can be very, very big virtual rooms in Zoom or other video conferencing tools. And then we have to be able to supervise them, to get properly organized with the Arbiters team in order to cope with a large amount of players. Now I would like to share another kind of tournaments which existed prior to the pandemic and which could not really exist during, as the lockdown was strict. This is the case, for instance, when you have a match between two university teams. So the pictures you can see here are from a match between Belgrade and Dallas, and it happens for many, many years, every year, like a ritual and like a nice partnership between the two universities. And so in that context, you group a lot of people. You group your students, your players, in one single playing area. And in that case, the arbiter is not supervising from remote, but is in the same place as the players. So this gives a bit more flexibility for the organization, because you can even consider that we have longer time control rather than blitz or short rapid, and the players are still under proper supervision. What is maybe more of a challenge is that to do that, you can see plenty of computers at the same place. So it means you need to be in a place which has proper technical infrastructure and good network, computers and everything available for the players to have good playing conditions. What we could imagine in the future would be to have online Olympiad, for instance. This could be in a similar system as what we see here. Any comment, Tomek?
I muted for a while myself,
Okay.
because there was a request from the people that they can hear voice from my house also. So I muted myself a while. But if you want to answer, I have two questions for you. Okay, first, the question is what, according to your opinion, is maximum number of the players for one arbiter to be supervised online?
That's a good question. I mean, it will depend on what level of supervision you want to implement. If you want quite a strong level of supervision, probably 10 or 15 is already a big number. If you have a big tournament,
you mean 10 boards or 10 participants?
10 people. Yeah, 10 people. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an interesting comment, Tomek. Yeah, indeed, in this world, contrary to the over the board world, we rather think in terms of people rather than boards, right? While usually when we speak about a tournament, we say, okay, I had 20 boards, but here I would say I had 20 people in my Zoom, or something. And what is interesting also is that the ones you have in your room, depending on how you decided to organize the thing, the ones you have in your room, maybe they don't even play against each other. If you are in a big Swiss, if you are in a round robin, probably you would organize that everybody's together in the same supervision room. But in a Swiss, you can have half pairs, not full pairs. Yeah.
And the second is about percentage of the cheaters during the online tournament. What is your expectation?
The percentage of cheating. Wow,
that's a very difficult question, but I think it's not very high. I think we can estimate it about, I don't know, 3%, maybe even less. It depends, of course, of the championship.
Yeah, indeed. And yeah, there are some. We were speaking about playing with the names. I think there are some things, some measures that we can use in order to try reducing the risk of cheating. We will speak about it a bit later again. So let's go to the arbiter.
Okay, and last question is about Olympiad. You mentioned this online Olympiad.
Yes.
Can you say more details about this Olympiad, or this is just plan for concretization in the future?
Yeah, exactly. I don't have details so far. Of course, FIDE is working on introducing a FIDE online Olympiad, but I don't know exactly the details of the format, of the dates, or if it's qualifiers and then finals. So it will come out soon, I'm convinced, but for now we don't have the final details.
So for now, it's not possible to apply for the position of the arbiters for online Olympiad, yes?
Not yet.
We must wait a little.
Yeah.
Okay.
So those of you who know me a little bit, they know that I like to make some kind of graphs or things like that. So here I tried to imagine, what do we say when we speak about over-the-board arbiter, and what do we consider when we speak about online arbiters? This is a graph. As I said earlier, we had pretty low time to prepare, so don't take it like the holy graph. But this is just to identify a few differences in the roles of arbiters. And maybe it's time just for a small ad about the work being done at the Commission. And I would like to thank the team, the Arbiters Commission team, for the great work they are doing. And we are going to make the regulations hopefully more clear, and also about the roles and expectations for the arbiters of different levels. And so after that work is finished, probably we have more meaningful graphs than the one I provide here. But the idea is that I put 6 key elements in the life of an arbiter, and I try to compare their impact or their importance in the life of an arbiter over the board and in the life of an arbiter online. So you can see that those ones who are saying, but the arbiter is not doing the same online, they are not totally wrong. Because, for instance, we will go into more details in the coming slides, but the laws of chess are very, very important over the board, while online, in fact, they will be almost automated by the platform somehow. So there are a few areas which are much more significant for over the board, laws of chess, for instance, or much more significant for online technology, also what I call supervision, and which we will detail in the coming slide. So about the laws of chess, basically over the board, what are we dealing with? Irregularities, draw claims, making sure that everything's all right with the playing hall, that the playing area is fine for the players, and we deal with the player's behavior. This one disturbing the opponent, that one moving out of the playing area while he is at the move. So this is mainly related to irregularities and claim. Online, a lot of things which we need to be careful with over the board, they are automated. We have what I call auto start, when the game starts automatically. Auto default, after 1 minute or so, you are not connected, you lose the game automatically. And this article of the laws of chess where we say, except if the arbiter decides otherwise, is not possible always. So we have a lot of auto things. Auto flag, we don't need to tell that the flag fell because the computer sees it automatically. And also we don't need to wait for 5-fold repetition in general because after 3 the system stops immediately, etc. On the other hand, we may have to deal with technical issues online, contrary to the over the board, like problem with connections or whatever. So according to the laws of chess, we need to be a bit less skilled on that particular topic because the computer is doing our job. But we have other areas where we need to do more than on over-the-board tournament. So in over-the-board tournaments about fair play, in general, fair play measures, they are pretty concrete over the board. Because you may have scans at the entrance of the building, you leave the devices at a cloakroom or things like that. You will have game screenings after the game where you send the PGNs. Tomek in his presentation will show an example, I think, from Professor Regan. And okay, everything is really under the direct control of the arbiter. You have an arbiter, you have the players next to the arbiter in a single place. So this is pretty easy. Online, it will be a bit different because everybody will be at his place. So, of course, there will be same concepts. We will keep the concepts of having fair play measures to fight against cheating, of course. So the physical checks which we do when we are at a tournament hall, we will do them from remote through the webcam, asking the player to show his place. So, okay, in some cases you have very clean places. Sometimes you would expect the player to tidy a little bit. But what is important for us is not the state of the room, is that we don't find electronic devices or a friend sitting just close to him because he's expected to be alone. And so this is about, let's say, our processes, but there might be also some platform-specific processes, like banning players if they have a behavior which doesn't correspond to their requirements or things like that. And what is very important also is that in order to impose fair play, we entirely rely on the collaboration of the players, because if they don't move their camera or they show us like very, very quickly so that we don't see anything, which means they don't collaborate, then maybe we have to ask them, like we would warn them in an actual tournament, actually, in over-the-board tournament. And of course, yeah, we need to take into account the banning policies of the playing platform which we use for the tournament. So supervision. This one, I thought it's probably easier to show just one picture rather than using 1,000 words. And this is, let's say, one memory, one personal memory on my side, because actually I was present in Katowice in 2017, and Tomek as well was the chief arbiter there. So I thought it's a nice memory from there. And in an over-the-board tournament, what is totally different from an online tournament is that at a glance you get many informations in terms of supervision. Of course, you can't see every position one by one, but at least you can see a row of 20 or 30 players. You can see if one is raising the hands much more easily than online. So online, I'm sharing, I hope he doesn't mind if he's connected tonight. I'm sharing a picture from the Online Nations Cup from our colleague, Stephen Kisuze from Uganda. He was arbiters in the Online Nations Cup, and he shared with us his system of supervision, where you can see we have first step of transition with the question about technology that we can see on the screen, 3 different screens. And yeah, when you have to deal with a lot of different kinds of information in online tournaments, then it's very important to be well equipped. Otherwise, it becomes a real nightmare for you as an arbiter. Of course, depending on your role. I mean, if you only have to supervise a few players, and then you don't need necessarily to have a lot of information displayed at the same time on your computer, then it's not that critical. But if you have, for instance, to deal with pairings, with the playing platform to supervise the games, the video conferencing system to display the webcam of the players simultaneously, and also some systems, some tournaments, they use some business communication platform in order to chat live and be really connected. Yeah, one of the very important things is that during tournaments, all the people from the team, whether it's the arbiters team inside the arbiters team, or in collaboration with the platform or the organizer, it's very important to be well connected. In over-the-board tournaments, you can easily find the organizer, I don't know, at the bar or at the refreshment area, if he's taking care of the guests. But in online, you are really relying on availability in a place where you can be connected. So yeah, there is much more technology involved in over the board. So this, contrary to the laws of chess, it's the opposite impact. So you as an arbiter are much more expected to deal with technology than in over the board, where only in general in arbiter seminar we advise to study the chess clocks, the pairing programs, etc. Or sometimes we can even imagine to understand basically about electronic boards, but this is not mandatory at all. So the panel of tools, of technology is much bigger online. So I got a question here. What is the duty of the online chief arbiter of a mass competition? To supervise, monitor the arbiters, but how? Thanks. Yeah, it's a good question. There are plenty of different duties. The duty in general of the chief arbiter is like the pilot of the airplane, to make sure that we reach the destination. So of course, controlling the team, supervising the team is one thing, probably very important in order to make sure that everything is operating well. I haven't mentioned yet that in an online tournament, whatever is natural in an over-the-board tournament, maybe it becomes much more protocolar. I'm not sure about the English, but that whatever you do naturally without thinking, maybe in some cases when you go over the board, you need to clarify. I do step 1, then step 2, then step 3. And what can happen, and is very important, I was supervising observing the Online Nations Cup, and there was a very interesting way of working. that the team regularly got reminders or instructions about what they have to do in a written form. In general, in over-the-board tournament, you would have like a formal meeting or even informal meeting just to give a few instructions. But online, it's most necessarily written, and then it's probably also easier to keep track and better apply the instructions. So yeah, supervising the team and also make sure that, of course, all the elements related to the schedule, the achievement of the results. I mean, one of the things which can be impacting a lot in online tournaments is the fact that you have the online platform. And the online platform, even if they are usually very performant, it can happen, especially during the COVID time. At some point, some of the platforms, they had some breakouts because simply instead of having their normal amount of customers, of players, it suddenly exploded because everybody loves chess and everybody wanted to play chess. So you also need to be in a position to take decisions. In some cases, either you wrote it in the regulations already, like if it happens, like we have a blackout of the platform, then we decide we start the next day or something. Or if it's not written specifically already in the regulations, you have to take a decision in order to inform the participants as early as possible about what is going on with the rest of the tournament. Okay, another point which is probably we will change it in the future, but one of the words I found was interdependence. I mean, when we go for over-the-board tournament, in general, it's very important that there is a good teamwork between the organizer and the arbiter. And then, okay, maybe I make a shortcut, but we can consider that everything runs alone, and it's fine. But online, you have more actors, you have more parameters. So you have, on the one hand, of course, the organizer. You still continue to work in a good team spirit with him. That's always very important, online and over the board. But there can be some systems and other actors involved in the process. Which means that the playing platform has definitely an impact on the way you depend on other things online. They have internal regulations and processes. They have customs and way of working. So in some cases, the fact that now we are reaching playing platforms, it's also like a win-win situation. They have good habits from non-FIDE events in the past and non-ACU events in the past. And we have also some practices from the chess world. So if we take the best of both, it's perfect. And so in some cases, chess world has to adapt. And in some cases, the online platform can adapt and answer our requests. So this is something we need to take into account in the preparation of the event. I see Tomasz smiling. Yeah, I mean, probably we can't ask them to program.
Question on the chat, so yeah. That's why I'm smiling. I will tell you later. Just continue, please.
Okay, and of course, something maybe not everybody thought about it, but in this case, we have the player as also a more present part of the process. And what is more difficult with the players is that the communication is most of the time asynchronous. How do we access the players when they are playing their game? Maybe they will be concentrated, and if you send them a chat, they won't pay attention to the fact that you send them a chat message. And also it's important, as everything is asynchronous. When you are in a tournament, if you need the player, you will just watch him and wait for him at the end of his game. But if you are over the board and he suddenly disappears at the end of his game while you wanted him to stay, so if you forgot to tell the players in your protocol to deal with them that they should stay when they finish their game, then you maybe just lose 10 minutes or 20 minutes because he was supposed to have a break but you wanted him before his break. So yeah, this is also one of the challenges with online tournaments. And I will finish about this topic of the different parts of role of the arbiter with the administration and processes. So over the board, basically we have our standard typical processes like, okay, writing regulations, registering, check-in, pairings, results, report, and we're done. Online, of course, we would keep the same kind of skeleton, because a chess tournament remains a chess tournament. So there are some basics which won't differ between the two contexts. But once more, we are dealing with platform regulations. So those of you who are inhabited to work on big tournaments, I mean national championships with a lot of players or big international events, you would say, yeah, sure, Laurent, you're right, but in my case, over the board, it's not the platform regulations which I need to take into account, but it's the Congress Center regulations. And they have heavy restrictions due to safety, fire, etc. And so, yeah, that's absolutely true. Online, you would move like for more important, or let's say bigger over-the-board events requirements by default, because you would have regulations from the platform. You need to take them into account in the way you design your own regulations from the event. You need also to understand how it goes with pairings, because when you're online, depending on what you chose, depending on the platform, maybe the pairing can be done inside the platform, or you have to do them externally. And if you do that, then you need to have a data transmission process. And I think I know someone who will speak about it very, very soon. And of course, as I said a few minutes ago, any processes require really much more attention, communication, anticipation. Because once we are running, it's, as I said by giving the example of the player leaving the board, once we are running, it's much more difficult to get something back. So we are probably not that far as the space shuttle and the space agency, but in this role of arbiter, we have a lot of data, parameters, situations to cover in order to be, let's say, comfortable. The more you anticipate, the faster you can make decisions, because you already have a kind of idea of what can happen. And the more fluently the tournament can go. Of course, we can't control everything, but step by step, also by gaining experience tournament after tournament, you learn from what made you waste time in the first tournament. In the second one, you included in your process, etc., etc. Like in over-the-board tournaments with I don't know, process with setting the clocks or preparing the hole, etc. So I would like in the next sequence to speak about the players online, because players, as we started to speak about it, they are really part of the process in much more active way than in an over-the-board game. So a player key element is to identify who is playing. Identify who is playing because you want to know that maybe some people are simply known by FIDE. Because we are speaking about FIDE ECU, it means we expect people to be known on our side, even if for now it is not questioned to rate tournaments. But it's important to know about our members. So a player online has 4 components, we can say. Okay, it's a person, he has a name, FIDE ID. But as you speak about like a member of the organizing committee somehow, the player is bringing his own playing area. So he will have a video conference name. So it can be handy that you can easily identify Tomek as Tomek Delega as a person. FIDE ID, I don't know by heart your FIDE ID, so sorry Tomek. But also that he is called in Zoom Tomek and not Gizmo. And in the platform that we can see him also as Tomek. So this is not always possible. As a competitor, maybe you have a nickname on the playing area. And your nickname has nothing to do with your name. So in some contexts, we are able to ask the playing platform to use the real name. And that is much better, much comfortable for the arbiters. If you have 16 people to supervise in your Zoom call, and they all have a strange name compared to their actual name, and all those names are different in the Zoom, how do you find who is who? It's even the fastest of the arbiters would have a proper challenge to achieve that. So as I said a moment ago, they are bringing the playing area at their home. So it means that we would do some inspection. So also it means to do inspections, you need to have the players in advance at their playing area, that they connect to the playing zone, plus to the supervision system, and you take them one by one. Show me your screen. What applications are open on your screen? What do you have around you on your desk? In your playing room, are you alone, etc.? So you make a kind of visit together with the players. In general, they do it very willingly. Because it's also part of the protection. I mean, it's not a discrimination. Everybody is done the same. And if we are under low supervision, as I said, it's clearly declared that it can be random to anyone. So it's not because I consider you a cheater or whatever. We just decided that we make a check right now about your playing area. Some constraints that they should only have, of course, the playing zone open and communication software, not any chess base or database or chess computer open, of course. That's, I would say, quite obvious. Also, because we are asking them a bit more than what is written in the laws of chess. It's very important that we are clear in the regulations what we expect from them in terms of behavior, specify in advance what they can do, what they can't do, if you accept that they smoke, for instance, or not. We don't like that in the FIDE regulations by definition, but so what are the technical requirements? Do they need to show their front camera? Do they need to show a side camera? Do they need to show both, etc.? Do they need to install a software for communication? So all those things, they need to be anticipated with the players in order to have a smooth start of the tournament with them. And of course, it's important when you design your tournament with the organizer, it's very important that you take into account the rate of play, because of course the more difficult it is to leave, to forbid them to leave their seat. So if you have very long session of 4 hours, you can't really prevent them from going to the toilets, of course. But during a blitz, you may put in your regulation, during the blitz, you are not allowed to leave your seat. It will take 10 minutes maximum. You stay in front of the camera the whole time. And of course, once you design your whole thing, it's very important that you think about what happens in case you need to sanction. And when you choose sanctions, it's important that they remain proportionate and that you can actually apply them. Yeah. So just one last topic about the players. From real life, of course, one of the pain for everybody is losing connection. So losing connection, it can be totally by accident, or it can be also a measure to say, oh, I disappeared, I am going to look at my phone. So we need to not to be like total angels and understand that this can exist. So for sure, we can't accept too many disconnects during a game. So some of the tournaments implemented systems of yellow cards and red cards, and I find it quite interesting because one of the things which remains from the over-the-board tournaments is that an arbiter can take into account informations and decide based on informations, not like a robot. So this yellow card, red card, we can put a kind of global context for it. For instance, first or two disconnects plus maximum 2 minutes or 1 minute or 30 seconds, depending on what you want to put in your regulations. With maximum duration would be a yellow card. And then after 2 or 3 yellow cards, the player gets a red card, which means he loses the game. And maybe it's interesting that you have discussion about where it came from. Of course, when I speak about having a discussion about it, it's much easier when you have a very few players than if you have 50 players to supervise per arbiter or something. But probably 50 is really too much, even if we are in a lower supervision. What do you think of it, even in lower supervision, Tomek?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
What would you say is reasonable for a lower supervision context in terms of number of players per arbiter?
Okay, what is, it depends also what kind of resources you have. For example, of the team of the arbiters, if it is limited or not limited. For example, during the European Online Chess Championship, our team was rather small. I mean, we work together for 4,400 participants, 10 persons, yes? So we can of course speak theoretically what is good, what not good, but then is the practice, yes? So in general, I think that one arbiter is able to manage one FIDE, one Zoom call, for example, for 50 participants. So it is acceptable amount of the people for the one arbiter. It means about 25 chessboards.
Okay. Yeah, this is approximately what we had. We organized a few weeks ago when you started also the European Championship, the French Blitz Championship, and this is approximately what we had in each Zoom call. And yeah, we considered that as lower supervision for the qualifiers, but then I think it was the same for the European, right? Then for the finals, you have full supervision.
The problem is if you have too much people to supervise, like an arbiter, you have to watch every window of the communicator. You have a communication of the Zoom, you have a communication of the chat of the platform, you have other way of the communication with arbiters. Yeah. So it's really difficult to manage all these things because you must manage at the same time a lot of communication. So that's why it is difficult, and I think that 25 boards, 50 people for one arbiter is total maximum in case of online tournament.
Yeah, agreed. Thank you, Tomek. And we will finish with online platforms quickly. So the chess platforms, they are basically, as I started to speak about it a bit earlier, they are providing a playing hall in a way. And they have specific user interface, regulations and practices, as I mentioned. And so we have, as players and arbiters, to be declared on the platform and agree their terms of use. So I know that we will probably have some questions about banning players and things like that. So, but I leave the answer to Tomek later, because I think you have a proper answer, better than mine.
Okay, I have some notes for you also if you want to answer, but maybe I will let you finish your presentation, because otherwise people start asking, the question which you answer later. So.
Okay. Yeah, we are almost done with my part.
Okay.
So, so just also one important thing in terms of, I would say, arbiter's mindset. It's always to be trained. And consider you always have to learn things. And so if the playing platform is new for you, take some time to understand either if you are directly working with them, that they teach you about the system, or you learn on your own or with a friend who knows better the platform. But it's very important that we are well trained as arbiters about the environment where the tournament will happen. Same as when you go to a tournament. If you just arrive at the tournament and you don't even take the time to check where the toilets are or things like that, then how do you help the players who are in need? So when we work with a platform, I see mainly two options. Either you are in the case where, okay, you use the platform because it's a place where there are some chessboards and you do it on your own. The platform hosts your tournament, but you manage everything independently. Or you can have what happened, for instance, for the online Nations Cup, for the Steinitz Memorial. I don't know exactly how it worked for the European, but where we worked directly with the people from the platform, and then I call that a joint project. You work in partnership with them, and you have in the team the arbiters from the chess world and the people from the platform who are collaborating in order to have a smooth tournament. So those are the two different situations, I would say, which can happen. And in any case, what is very, very important, just repeating what I said a few moments ago, it's be clear about your context. What are the fair play procedures? Are there any from the platform? What do you plug on those procedures from your regulations? Are they compatible together? What are the appeals procedures? And in any case, make sure that you don't say A, and when you enter the platform, actually you can only do B. And then you have an inconsistency. You announce something to the players and you can't achieve it. So it's pretty important always to anticipate. I didn't speak about project management because it's maybe a bit exaggerated, but in some cases when preparing tournaments, especially when they are big, the organizers are real project managers. But it's also good when we as arbiters have a bit of understanding of those concepts, and then we can be better team players with the organizers as well. And actually, many of the international and FIDE arbiters also have an IO title, as far as I know. So they are sensitive. It's a fourth friend in French to this kind of considerations. And so I will finish now just also about one of those typical examples where it's better to anticipate and to think how you will design your tournament. About a simple question. When I want to start a game, already about thinking how I start a game, there are plenty of possibilities. So, first of all, do we have inside the platform the pairing software we need? If it's inside, then it's pretty much integrated and probably easier to manage, but it's not always possible. Then who pairs? Once we know where we pair, who pairs the players? Is it the system itself, the arbiter? Do we ask actually the players to send a challenge to their opponent? This is also a possibility. So all those things you need to anticipate and probably write them down in your either in your regulations or in a kind of welcome protocol you would give to the players to explain them how they have to play in this particular tournament on that platform. And how does the game start? Is it started automatically when the pair is formed? Is it when the arbiters decide because he can press on a button to say, okay, no, I do that? Or do we need to tell the exact time when they start? Such things. So those are just questions for you to ask yourself or to ask the technicians from the platform to see with the organizer. They can have an impact on the schedule of the day. If you say, I always start on a definite time, then you might have to take a big buffer for long games, and then you have a long tournament. Or you can say maybe every time everybody is finished, 1 minute later it starts, and then you reduce the time of of the playing session. And I think this one was almost my last one. Oh no, that's the last one. So I don't want to make you scared about online chess, but this is just a mind map which you can't read, but illustrating all the different kind of preoccupation we have in mind in order to produce some guidelines. So as I said earlier, we are like new parents or maybe pioneers. We are discovering new world for the usual chess world, and it's important that we quite quickly can provide some guidelines to help you, arbiters, to help organizers, also to make sure that we have a kind of standardization in order to be more efficient and also sometimes more relaxed. If we know that wherever there is a tournament, it works in a similar way, then it's probably more less stressful. And of course, all that is to achieve our common goal as FIDE commissions, as chess lovers, to support the growth and development of online chess. So that was it for the conceptual part.
Okay, it is finished of your presentation.
Yes. So now I need to check if I learned properly my OBS skills to stream. Shall we give it a try?
Great, very good. Everything was fine. You forgot to promise to share your presentation on the Zoom, but
but you were so good.
I have everything with 20 seconds of the delay, so I try to manage myself somehow. Okay, Laurent, I have some question. I try to make some notes from the chat. Maybe some questions are difficult to answer, but I will try to ask all what I have. For example, is FIDE adopted finally officially the Kenneth Reagan system for fair play?
Yes, this is a system which is used for many years by the Fair Play Commission in order to screen the games. So screening the games means you send a PGN file, so the game's input in electronic format, to a program, a computer program, which processes all the games and checks about the moves. So this is what we call the screening. So this can be one of the anti-cheating or fair play measures that you studied when you were in an arbiter seminar, or that you learned from real life tournaments by being used there.
Okay, next question is what to do in case of the team competition you mentioned during your presentation, if in the one country or more there will be no electricity.
Yeah. That's a good point. I mean, there can be power cuts. It happens also over the board. I remember in Gibraltar happened quite a few times, even when it was already very, very dark. So, in that case, you need to be ready to deal with it. Yeah. So that's...
Yes, it depends, of course, on the rate of play, yes, because if there is a normal let's say, classical tournament, we can just have a maybe break even, but in case of a rapid tournament, probably it is not possible, and we must just repeat the tournament, yes?
Exactly.
All round. What is the role of the captain in case of online chess? What do you think?
Well, the captain is, from what happened recently, was more protocolar than anything. So, like, do we say honorific? Honorary?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. In the sense,
but still, the captain must, to came with the team composition and say which players will play in the team.
Yes, you're
right. I don't know if it is possible. Probably, it's also possible to advise the players regarding draw proposal or acceptance of the draw proposal by other means of the communication. It's allowed or not allowed. I think should be allowed in the general. What do you think?
Yeah, so far it was not applied like this. Yeah, you are totally right about the composition, team composition. Of course, something I missed as I was focused about during the game. So of course, before the game, everything like over the board, but during the game, it's a bit more tricky, and most of the time we limit things. Will you describe what is allowed or not during your presentation, or I answer fully now?
Okay, I have some. Yes. I have some slides, so maybe later.
Okay, so I leave it to you.
Maybe the last question just before my presentation. What to do with the player who is not responding any way of the communication during the online tournament? So you are sending him message by platforma chat, not answer. You are sending him message by Zoom, not answer.
So
and the same other means of communication. What to do with such player?
Yeah, I think we can make the parallel as over-the-board tournaments, when you have this regulation which says the game is lost by the player who refuses to apply the laws of chess. Okay, it's a bit more tricky than what I just said, because it's about communication. And when you're in a tournament, you can see in the eyes if the player is just like saying, I won't do what you said, or it didn't hear you, or whatever. When it's like this, then you have no guarantee that the message that you sent is reaching your target. So you must be a bit more careful, but the overall principle remains, I would say.
Yes, it's true. I will mention this also during my presentation. So if you don't mind, maybe we will switch to my presentation.
Exactly,
and
I'm happy to see it.
Not a problem for you. I prefer to answer all questions at the end. So if you can make some notes as well. So I will try to answer at the end of my presentation. Okay?
Yeah. There we go.
Can I start?
Yes.
Okay. Before I will start my presentation, I would like to take opportunity that we have such big audience, and I would like to invite all arbiters, especially from non-European countries, to visit our website. I mean, European Chess Union Arbiters Council website. I will try to open this website and you will be able to see it. Okay, works. So you can find here a lot of interesting information, not only for European arbiters, but also information important for other arbiters. For example, an article how to calculate virtual opponent in case of tiebreak calculation, or for example, you can find here the thematic crossword for chess arbiters. So if you are interested, I think it is worth to visit our website if you have a while. This year was the special one for arbiters in Europe, because first time ever we had our nomination system for arbiters managed by ECU Arbiters Council. But unfortunately, because of the coronavirus, all scheduled European events are postponed, and we cannot nominate our arbiters. But life is moved into the virtual reality, and that's why we have this presentation today. And we, as European Chess Union, organized first ever European Online Chess Championship. And I was honored to be a chief arbiter of this tournament, and I would like to share with you my experience from this competition. First, I would like to tell you about our preparation to the European Online Chess Championship 2020, about problems to solve, about writing regulations, about registration of the players, about managing of the club and communication, about video call with screen sharing, about fair play protection, and finally about results conversion and calculation. In general, my idea is to show you full prospect of the tournament, because I think it is important to understand the role of the arbiters, having full perspective what we did during this online chess championship like arbiters. Before I start, I would like to give one remark, because during my presentation I will mention some companies, commercial or non-commercial companies, because during the tournament, during the championship, we use several products of this company, and I want to underline that I am not paid to promote any of this product, so you can use different one. If it's better for you, no problem. For example, we use Zoom platform for the conference with the players, but on the market you can find also several other similar products, like for example Skype or WebEx or TrueConf and so on. So it's your decision what kind of platform you want to use, and just to not be too much connected with our product, which I mentioned during my presentation. But what I can say that a product we choose just warranty us a great tournament. Starting our preparation, we try to estimate scale of the tournament. And I must say that our expectation was to have something between 4,000 and 5,000 participants. So if you will read the final numbers presented in the tables, you will see that finally we had 4,412 players. It means that our estimation was quite good. And if you want to organize such big tournament, you must understood that for such big tournament, such big number of participants, you need a maximum automation of each process within the tournament, because this is very important to run this tournament smoothly. We made also several assumptions during the preparation time. First, that players will play under their real names. As you know, as Laurent mentioned, during the online playing, during the online chess platform, players use nicknames. And we decided to publish the full list of the nicknames connected with the real names of the players, so every player have a chance to find the opponent on the list of the players. Second, our tournament groups will be composed according to the real FIDE rating. So it's also important that we will not use the rating from the Chess.com platform, but we will use a normal FIDE rating in case of our tournament FIDE rapid rating. The third, we want also to give special prizes to the participants by age, by sex, and by FIDE rating. That's why it was clear for us that we should register all players for the tournament like for normal chess tournament, asking players additionally about their nicknames and about their email address for communication. To have more experience with the platform Chess.com, because I must say it was my first time when I have possibility to use this platform. To have more experience with this platform, I decided to spend several days playing chess on the Chess.com. In general, they organize one-day tournaments. The pairing is made using their rating and their Swiss algorithm. And for results calculation in the Swiss system, they use only one tiebreak. This tiebreak is Sonnenborn-Berger. I made some calculation and I understood that they didn't count unplayed games for the tiebreak. So it means there is no virtual opponent or any other method used for calculating of unplayed games. And for example, to be paired for the next round, you must be logged into the platform. It is also important, and you must be not idle. It means that you must be not disconnected because your inactivity on the platform. Because if you are not active, the platform can disconnect you. It's worth to mention that they have also manual system for starting games. The system which can be run from the command line, from the command inputted by operator, but because of the scale of our tournament, we didn't want to use this manual system. I understood also that we have on the platform, as Laurent mentioned also in his presentation, some specific rules different than in FIDE laws of chess. For example, they have some kind of timeouts depending on the rate of play. In case of our tournament, you cannot think more on the first move than 1 minute. Or, for example, maximum thinking time for one move is 5 minutes. So otherwise, you will just lost your game. They have also some rules for automatic draw. For example, in case of the king versus king plus knight versus king plus knight, there is on the chess.com automatic draw. What I find out also during our tournament is that on the chess.com you can make a draw without any move by white or black. What is different in the law of chess, and what is also what has significant impact for the data conversion. I will speak about the data conversion later. In general, we, like an arbiters organizer, must follow the rules of the platform. So this is the most important conclusion. Maybe you like it, maybe you don't like it, but in general, you must follow what is possible on the platform, because probably they for you will not make special arrangement or special changes. Regarding regulation, our idea was to include all specific chess.com rules in our regulations. So that's why our regulation was quite a big document. I will try to open this document now to show you. So you can see here the document with all rules included to our regulations. I think there is about 8 or even 9 pages here. So as you can see, this document is really quite big. Finally, going back to our tournament, we decided to divide tournament into the 5 groups, A, B, C, D, and E. And we decided to divide the player to this group according to the real rating, not chess.com rating. Each group from A to D played 2 tournaments. First was qualification tournament, 7 rounds for all registered. And the final stage was for the best 250 players from the qualification. And in the final, the best 100 players advanced to the next stage, I mean to the next group. It means from A to B, from B to C, and so on. Okay, probably I must close the screen with the regulation because you cannot see my presentation. Okay, I think now is everything
all right. Yeah.
No?
It works.
Okay, it's sorry, I still have a problem with managing all of these things because I'm doing this first time. So going to the last group, Group E, we played 2 separate Swiss tournaments, 8 rounds each tournament, and 12 the best players with the overall score from both tournaments advanced to the final top 16, where the knockout tournament was played 2 rounds plus Armageddon if needed. The rate of play for all games in all groups, 10 minutes plus 2 seconds increment, and pairing system by Chess.com by their rating and algorithm. I will not read, of course, all points from our regulation, but I would like to pay your attention for 2 points from our regulation. First, the most common problem for the players during online play is the temporary internet connection loss. And in such of just loss of the connection, the player are removed from the tournament and cannot continue. That's why we decided to write in the regulation that we are not responsible for such cases. And the second thing regarding fair play, we have written that we will follow anti-cheating measures of the Chess.com. They have some automatic system for fair play violation detection. And they have also some group of professionals working on that. I must say also that we cooperate also with the well-known Professor Kenneth Regan, but I will speak a little more about fair play a little later. For registration of the players, we decided to use several tools to make maximum automation, because for such big number, as I told you at the beginning, 4,412 participants, we need a lot of automation and integration. Otherwise, it's not possible just to make even the registration. So we collect from players following data: nickname, FIDE ID, real name, email address, federations, rating, title, and as I mentioned also, we integrate payment system with the form. So we collect information from the payment system, regulation acceptance, agreement for publishing real name and nickname, and also agreement for further data processing. Regarding form used for the registration, we used type form, asking players for their data. And here you can see an example of this on the slide, how this form looks like. So every player interested to play in our tournament could go to this form, just register himself by internet using this form, and because this form was integrated with the payment system, it was also possible to pay entry fee to the tournaments. And using this form, I think we eliminated dozens of emails from the players for the registration. As I told you, the type form was integrated with the payment system. We use Stripe and PayPal. So everyone registered on the tournament could immediately make a payment, and at the same moment, really, we have the information about this payment. So no need to check a bank account or just ask bookkeeper or accountant about this payment. And finally, we collected all data from the form using Google Sheet. On the screen, you see some examples. And from this Google Sheet, next we import data of the players to the Arbiters system. For the preparation of the list of players and data verification, we used chess arbiter software. On the slide, you can see that this software has special feature which allow us import data directly from the Excel file created from Google Sheet. So using this software, you can map here Excel columns to the appropriate fields of the players in the database players, and then you can click import and have all players imported into the software. We use also the software for the verification, for the data verification from the players. Based on the downloaded FIDE rating list, the software marked red all players which data were not correct, and you can open all records of the player and make correction or make some adjustment needed according to the FIDE rating list. How it looks like, finally, I will open again web browser, and you can also go to this link on your computer if you want to see how this list were prepared. You can see the chess arbiter service on the web server. You can see here all players. I will not scroll 4,000 participants, but maybe I will go down. I will show you the final numbers also here, yes. So this is full list of the player, and also some additional feature like groups, rating groups, A, B, C, D, some information about special prizes, who is competing about special prize, for example. And also registration, for example. I can click here and open a new window, probably, and I can show you the form, but form, of course, is not active, so you cannot input your data and access to our tournament now. And also I put here to this service some useful links for the chess results. So clicking here, you can see also some information in the chess results. I will speak about chess results a little later. And also I included here some links to the our playing venue on the chess.com. Okay, let's close again this, and I will be back on the presentation. Of course, during the import of the data, we face several problems, like, for example, national signs from different countries or non-Latin letters. It makes problems for the conversion and then for the data verification. So a lot correction should be done to have all data in correct orders. And of course, we must make some correction because of the answers of the player for some questions in the form. For example, the question was, what is your chess.com nickname? And for example, my favorite answer are yes or I have. So what is your chess.com nickname? Yes or I have. My favorite answer, it means that we have a lot of players with the nickname yes, for example. So all these problems you must correct half automatic or even sometimes manually in the software. And finally, we decided also to publish the list of players in the Swiss Manager. So all data were imported the Swiss Manager software using option import players from the rating list. So on the screen, on the slide, you can see what kind of structure the Excel file should have to be imported into the Swiss Manager. So finally, we have list of the players in Chess Arbiter, and also in the Swiss Manager and Chess Results server. Let's go to the managing chess club. It's role of the arbiter. So when we have a list of players ready, we must invite the players to the clubs. So first, in the chess.com, there are two roles in the club, super admin and admin. And the problem is that you can invite player to the club if you cannot invite player to the club if the player didn't accept your invitation. This is the first problem. And the second problem is that the players cannot join to the club if you don't allow them. So we must accept all players coming to the club. And the biggest problem, which is, I mentioned this also before, is that players are changing nicknames. So even after the registration for the tournament, they are changing nicknames. So this is very, very bad for us and has also implication in case of data conversion and data preparation. Here you can see how works chess.com. It is some view on the chess.com club. The most important here is that you can see the roles and also you can see how to manage the chess.com club. The most important is that you can invite member and you can ban member. What we did also, you have an example here, we try to put all important information for the players into the club wall to be easily visible for all participants, for all players. Regarding rules, we must prepare some rules for the chess.com club. First, players shall add their legal name to their setting status in the chess.com. So players should add the real name into the profile. Players are not allowed to change their nicknames in the chess.com, but as I told you, we have a lot of problem with this. And players are required to turn off the chess.com game chat during the tournament. And streaming and broadcast, any broadcast platform is not allowed during the playing of the tournament. What kind of problems we faced managing the tournament in the chess.com? First, players are very late before the round. So we asked them to join tournament 1 hour in advance, but they were usually late. And for example, someone just tried to log in 3 minutes before the tournament and has some technical problem and he was just not able to play on the tournament. Next problem is that players don't read chess.com messages or other messages. So there is a problem of the communication, what also Laurent mentioned in his presentation. Next problem is that maybe people open our messages, but they do not understand English. So that's why very important is to have communication in the several languages and in several ways. I mean, using chess.com chat, using Zoom chat, using Zoom call, even by voice, or sometimes even email or other way of the communication. Because if we cannot catch the player, it is a very complicated situation because we cannot speak with the players. For communication with the arbiters and among the organizers, we use Messenger. We create 2 groups, one group for organizers and second group for arbiters. I think it's worth to mention that we created also some smaller groups to cooperation among the arbiters. And I think in general, this messenger communication is very good. And what is very important that using different tools for communication among the organizers and among arbiters, we separate our communication. It means that no mistakes, because sometimes on Zoom call, you can write to everyone, not to the concrete people, and it creates some mess. And as I told you, also speaking with Laurent, I think the most important character trait for arbiter for online tournament is multitasking. You must be able to manage several way of the communication in the same time, and this is complicated. What to do if we have some problem with the players? I think it's good to have and to give to the arbiters some list of penalties which arbiter can use during the tournament. Otherwise, if there is no any list, no any agreed penalties, the arbiters have some problems. So we decided first start from the private warning to the player. The second one was public warning. Third one, 0 points penalty in the current round. Of course, it will be visible in the chess results after the tournament, not during the round on the chess.com. And the final penalty for the player is just ban. It means out of the tournament. As I told you at the beginning, for communication with the players and also for the fair play reasons, we decided to use Zoom call, and here you have some rules for the players used by us for the Zoom call. So all players must put their full name in Zoom. Earphones, headphones are strictly forbidden, but music from speaker is allowed. It's funny that during the tournament we received a lot of, let's say, requests from the players. If music is allowed, it means that some players like play chess in-house listening music at the same time. The Zoom group chat is strictly forbidden, and private message to the arbiter is allowed, just to avoid any big communication on the chat. Camera must be turned on while playing the game. When the game finishes, you can leave the room, but keep your camera on your room. And the players are obliged to turn on and share options screen sharing during the Zoom call. And I would like to share with you also the best practices used by us during the Zoom call. I think the players should be divided to the concrete arbiters. The best is to have many separate Zoom calls. It is better to manage and communicate with the players. Of course, if we have a lot of separate calls, the player cannot see the opponent. So it is sometimes maybe not nice for the players, but for the arbiters is better. So we assigned arbiters according to their competence, language competence, to the concrete groups. All microphones must be muted, but arbiter can unmute the player each time. About screen sharing, I mentioned it, must be on and running, and waiting room. Waiting room is a very interesting feature on the Zoom. That is because on the waiting room, you can communicate with the players also. And for example, if someone is coming to your waiting room and he's not named correctly in the Zoom, you can ask him, please rename yourself. Please change your name to know that you have all good, correct participants on your Zoom call. Because we don't want to have on, for example, if I'm an arbiter and my Zoom call is for 50 participants, I don't want to have among these 50 participants other players from other Zoom calls. That's why this waiting room allows us arbiters, to make some limitation and check the list, and you can allow the participants to join your Zoom call or just not allow. What host or co-host in case of our tournament, the arbiter can do during the Zoom call? Can manage the players, participants, and waiting room, can manage multiple screen sharing, can unmute participants, can record the call or some part. It is also interesting that we use this feature sometimes in case of any claim, because we were able to show the players what was going on. So this recording is very good. And what is also important that Zoom offer for you to have log of the presence. So on the next screen, you have some example of the log of the presence. So thank you to this log, we can check even after the end of the tournament if we have all players on the Zoom call or not. And this is important because players not present on the Zoom call were disqualified and cannot continue the play in the next stage in case of qualification. And here you can see final picture from our internal Zoom call with all people involved in the Arbiters team, and also you can see here some issue directors and other person involved in the team. For example, you can see here also one person from the ChessCom who cooperated with us really strongly, and I really appreciate this cooperation. Maybe I will mention that one missing person here is the ECU Secretary General Theodoros Tsorbatsoglu, the main organizer of this event, and I think that he did really difficult job and did this job really very well. Okay, let's go for a while for the fair play protection. I will not speak about the fair play protection too much, maybe some slides just for you. This is my favorite picture regarding fair play. This is from one tournament in India. On this picture, you can see the player, which is using a lot of devices for the cheating. But of course, cheating in case of online tournaments looks totally different, and the players can use different tools, dedicated software, and so on. So probably the subject of the fair play and anti-cheating protection is another topic which should be covered, but maybe next time, not during this workshop. Just a few words about how we work in case of our European Online Chess Championship 2020. As I mentioned earlier, we use fair play protection. We use combined forces from the ChessCom and Professor Kenneth Regan. The ChessCom has some kind of automatic system implemented, and this system can even ban the players during the play in case of violation of the fair play principles. The next job was done also after the tournament, reviewing post-tournament reports which we received. And what is interesting that the player can also be banned by arbiters because of the Zoom call rule violation. So it means that we decided to ban players, I mean withdraw the players from the tournament because they were not present on the Zoom call. And we cannot communicate with these players, so we decided to stop them playing. And what is interesting, what is worth to mention, that ECU board decided to return points to the opponent of the cheater. So if you lose your game with the cheater, in the final results calculated and published on the chess results, you can have your points returned. I think it is a very good and very important thing. Regarding fair play, this is some kind of overview of the Professor Kenneth Regan report, just first part of this report with some general numbers and indications for the tournaments. You can, I don't know if it is enough good visible here, but on the bottom you can see also some descriptions regarding indication, which indicator means, but I will not go into details. Regarding fair play protection on the Chesscom, I don't want to go into details because they are private company. They prefer to keep all data secret. But just to remind you that they have some automatic system, and next level is an expert work. They cooperate with the statistician, but also with the several grandmaster around the world. What is on the bottom on the screen, you can see the message sent by Chesscom to the opponent of the player who violate the fair play policy on the Chesscom. This is an information, automatic information that your opponent violate the fair play principles, and that's why you will have your rating points restored. Last big thing which I would like to mention is the results conversion, because without this, probably we will be not able to run this tournament. And as I told you at the beginning, our idea was to calculate the final results ourselves. Because on the Chesscom they have only one tiebreak, which is Sonnenborberger, and this Sonnenborberger maybe is not even the best for the Swiss tournament. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this Sonnenborberger is also without, I mean, Chesscom Sonnenborberger is without unplayed games. And additionally, on the Chesscom, they are not returning points after the tournament in case of fair play violations. So we must return this point in the different system. That's why we must transfer all results from the Chesscom to the other Arbiter software like Swiss Manager, for example, or Chess Arbiter. How we collect this data? First, what we can have from the Chesscom is the full PGN generated after the tournament. I think that all arbiters know what is the PGN file, portable game notation, plain text format, and inside of this PGN you have just chess moves. The next slide is the example of the PGN file with the chess game. This is the form without clock timestamps. So this is the game only moves, not information about the clocks. And I think it is no need to tell more about this PGN notation. I think this is clear for every chess enthusiast. So our goal was to transfer this PGN file, to convert it to the any format readable by Arbiter software like Swiss Manager. That's why we decided that we need to transfer data to the TRF format, tournament report file. This is a FIDE format for data exchange with the FIDE. And we decided to convert the PGN file to this format. Below here on the bottom, you can see some fragment of the TRF file structure from the FIDE website. I think also all arbiters know how it looks like output of the TRF file. This is an example of the TRF file, the example of the content. So you can see the players, their data, and some results from concrete games. So I think no need to discuss more about this format. Before, at the beginning, when we want to convert this data from the PGN to the TRF, we make some searching, and we find out that English Chess Federation has a script extracting the results from the PGN file. But the script at the beginning do not make a TRF file, just it was simple extraction of the results. But we start our cooperation with two persons, Alex Holowczak, well known in FIDE, I think, and developer David Tomasz. And I would like to once again say them thank you during this presentation, because without their work, probably we will have more problem doing our job. And finally, after several days of writing, several days of testing, we had a script working. And what was also important, the script not only convert PGN files with the moves to the TRF format, but also convert nicknames to the real names of the player, which is important for data presentation in the Arbiters software. So some information about the script we used. The script was written in Python programming language. To run the Python script, you need to install a Python environment, because Python is a programming language who need interpreter. You cannot make easy the binary form to run on the computer. To run the conversion, to run the script, you must also install in your Python environment on your PC the library chess-pgn. And this can, you can think that this is complicated, but if you are able to operate and understand command line working, I think you are able to run also the script. How the script looks like. Here you can have a fragment of the code written in Python. Of course, I will not go into details what is written here. I think that for people outside of IT sector is maybe interesting to see some fragment of the source code of the software, how it is look like. So this is the real fragment of our source code written in the Python for results conversion. And finally, after conversion, we were able to open or calculate all results in Swiss Manager software and put everything to the chess results server. And when I open this link, probably you will see also on the chess results, our website, you see all groups, yes, starting list first, then you will see the tournaments, first stage, qualifiers, and so on. So all results are as you can see, were converted finally to the chess results and Swiss Manager. Okay, last thing I would like to mention at the end of my presentation is that we use also other tools during our tournament for results conversion and results calculation. We used Microsoft Excel, or in my case, LibreOffice Calc. And to operate on the text file, I use Notepad++. This is a plain text file editor. And what is important regarding this editor, that you can operate inside this editor also on the text columns, what is not possible by normal editor. So it is very easy and useful tool to operate on the text file columns. And at the bottom, you can see the example how you can mark the column in the Notepad++ editor. Okay, so I think I finished more or less. Laurent, any question? Do you have any question to me, or just not?
Yes, there are a few questions. Thanks a lot, Tomek, for the presentation and explanations. One question from Jan. Just at the moment, how do you validate the results between the steps in different programs?
how we validate results. It is really easy because you can make, for example, the standing, and you can compare the standing. Yes, for example.
Indeed. Other question, maybe rather a comment about practices which are in different parts of the world. So we have Pierre, who said many tournaments in Quebec have decided to delay the payment of prizes by 2 weeks in order to have time to process the post-tournament fair play complaints.
Yes, I think it is very good habit, and we did the same. Maybe not 2 weeks, but we also wait a little. I think 3 or 5 days with the final results. We cannot wait too much because we have next stage. Yes, so we must decide which player will be allowed to play in the next stage, which not. So we cannot wait longer than 2 days, for example. But it's a good idea, to not give the prizes before fair play verification on the tournament.
Yeah. Still on the same topic, anti-cheating tools can take a few days. Yeah, we said that. How to adjust points of opponents of a disqualified player in a Swiss tournament. Simple addition of points does not always seem adequate. The question comes from Bartolomei.
Okay, this is turning true very easy because, as I told you, we convert results from the Chesscom to the Swiss Manager, and in the Swiss Manager you can just open concrete round and you can just adjust results. Yes, so no need to use any additional information, and it works. Yes, so finally the opponent of the cheater will have their points returned, but not on the Chesscom. On the Chesscom the standing was how was after the tournament, but on the chess results the standing was let's say correct after the verification.
Okay. Another question from Ben, maybe rather related to investigations. How about a player with multiple screens but only one screen shared in Zoom?
It's not a big problem on Zoom also to use multiple screen sharing. So you can share. Okay, I understand. The question is that if I have many monitors, I share only one. Yes.
Yes, that's the question.
Okay, yes, this is a problem. Of course, the desktop sharing not prevent all ways of cheating. Yes.
Yes.
So I can share my desktop, my computer, but I can have my mobile near computer, and I can use my mobile also for cheating. So it not prevents cheating, but still complicates a little. And what I can tell you from my experience that we found several players use the chess software during the play. Some database, some engines. It's easy if you see the screen of the player, even some icons. Yes, you can understand what player is doing.
Yes, indeed, and yeah. Also, this relates on the level of check that you do. But yeah, what is important also what you said is that we reduce somehow by those measures. We can't always prevent.
Probably we are not able to prevent all cheating during the online tournament. This is just not possible when the players will play in their home. Because, for example, we can compare this to the, let's say, certified exams. If you want to pass your certified exam, you cannot pass this exam in the normal world from your home in general. You can go to the special room, to the special company, and this room is special protected. The software on the computer is special prepared. And this software and all equipment around protect you for cheating. And even if you try to cheat, they have a lot of cameras and they can just catch you. Because if we are asking the players to protect us against themselves, it's a little complicated. But what I can say also, for example, what is important, we had a lot is too much, too strong word. we have some cases of cheating at the beginning of the tournament. Everyone can go to the results on the chess.com and see. But what is important, for example, and what is good for us, that on the final stage, not only on the top 16, but also in the big group E, where we have about, if I remember well, 600 participants, nobody cheat. I mean, nobody was detected by the system. So it shows that on the professional level, the players start, respect each other.
Indeed. So, how do you feel after those 2 hours?
I think we should wait for remarks from our colleagues, arbiters, because I feel a little tired, but I'm also happy that we did such big project together with FIDE, and I think it was very good idea that we cooperate and we exchange our experience. And let's read later chat with comments, and we will know we were good or bad. So after the presentation, I will do it.
Yes. Really, the pleasure, I think, was shared to spend this project together, Tomek. I really appreciated doing it. I hope we have further opportunities to stream together. Now we are obviously newcomers, but next time we will have learned new things.
But I think finally that all works almost perfect. I mean, the stream. Maybe you forgot to share your screen, and I have some problems at the beginning because I cannot speak with you when I cannot see your screen. But I wait a little for the Facebook, for the YouTube story, and I have the same 20 seconds delay, so no problem.
Yes, I know you are always so polite that you didn't interrupt me to warn me, so I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
What is your general impression regarding our European Online Chess Championship?
I think that was kind of challenge. I mean, the same as we did today, we tried something which is out of the comfort zone, and I think it's very important that chess organizations, they try things to learn, to grow, etc. I don't know if it's the perfect solution or not. But in any case, as you said, the amount of work which was accumulated in order to put together more than 4,000 players in a short period of time, I think this is already an achievement in itself. And then we need to learn.
I would like to thank all my colleagues who cooperate with me, because it was not possible to do it myself. So thank you to all my colleagues. And I don't want to say that we did everything the best or we choose the best way, because maybe our colleagues Arbiter will send us some message after the presentation that we can do this better, this better, this better, and this way. So we are gaining an experience. I think for the next tournament we will be more prepared. What I would like to say at the end on behalf of European Chess Union, that there is an idea of ECU board to organize more online tournaments. So it means that we need arbiters and we need qualified arbiters. So maybe we will organize also some workshops, some practice for the arbiters among ECU to have better qualified arbiters for the online tournaments in the future.
Yes, and I think this is not only an ECU preoccupation. All continents and FIDE in general will be in need, because the wish is to increase the quality and the presence online. So for sure, tonight was a kind of awareness session, a first workshop, but the idea is then to propose really some trainings in order to have even more material, more preparation for arbiters to be more
I think
prepared.
that practice is important. If you have a chance to practice, you will get better, because you cannot be better just only listening the presentation, unfortunately.
Yeah, of course. That's clear for
so once again, thank you. And of course, if you have any question to me, just ask before we say hello to our colleagues.
from my end, no more questions. Before we stop, I would like to thank, of course, you, Tomek. It was a real pleasure to share this moment with you, and I think it was pretty good. Also, Nebojša Baralic, the secretary of the FIDE Commission, who helped us when we were trying our best to discover the streaming system, and also for the registration of people in the seminar, and Anna Burtasova from FIDE, and Ilya Gorodetsky, who were the ones who supported us into making the migration from Zoom to YouTube and try this first experience. So thanks to all the people who supported. A special thanks to, I think, more than 400 people. We will check after that, but a lot of arbiters, also grandmasters, people who were interested in the subject. I hope you learned things, that this was done in a way which suits you, and that we meet you again soon for any topics about arbiters.
Thank you very much, Laurent, to you, and thank you very much for this idea of the cooperation.
Great pleasure. See you very soon for another one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.